Hey everybody, the Super Vader 400 here, back for another review, and this time, this is my review. This is my short review of the entire Robocop film series. I got into the Robocop film series in 2006. I was a huge fan of franchises such as Iron Man and Japanese Tokatsu series, and that's what RoboCop remind me of. And he's based on a Tokatsu metal hero called Space Sheriff Gaivan, which I just figured out now. He's also loosely based on the character Judge Dredd. I heard that from Rambo Ralph for Life, who is a huge fan of the RoboCop's film. I saw the first film I saw the first film in early 2006. My uncle had it dubbed on tape, and I still have that tape. I still have that tape, and I've been a huge fan of the film ever since. Ever since. I also saw the sequel on television. The sequel was entertaining, but I, however, didn't like the sequel. I didn't like the fact that they got. I didn't like the fact that a kid was the bad guy. I didn't like the fact that a kid was the bad guy. I did like the plot though, but I didn't like the kid dying. I didn't like that. Then of course RoboCop 3, which everyone hates, but I for one love RoboCop 3. I for one love RoboCop 3. I love the final battle between RoboCop and the ninja, and despite being lighter, the graphic violence in this film. And of course you got RoboCop 2014. You got RoboCop 2014, the reboot, which I finally got around to watching, and I enjoyed it. I had my doubts about this film, but since it was RoboCop, I had to see it. I've been preoccupied with other things to watch it. Finally got around to watching it several weeks ago, and I loved it. And I really hope Sony. It says they're working on a sequel. Nothing has been said about that, but it said back in 2015 they are pursuing a sequel. Since no one really liked this film, and I didn't check the box office results of this film. I didn't I thought it was a flop, or I thought it was a one-time thing and they weren't doing a franchise. Now I'm hearing that Sony is doing a franchise. I really do hope Sony pursues this franchise and makes a part two. With that being said, let's start off with the original RoboCop film. Before I start with the RoboCop franchise, I am a huge fan of RoboCop for its complex science fiction action storyline. I'm a huge fan of the RoboCop films for their complex story, complex story, costume design, and action, and finally the cast. I love both cast members. I love Peter Weller from the first two films, and Robert Burke, I think that's his name, the guy who took over for RoboCop 3, and I love Joel Kidman, the actor who took over the actor who appeared in the reboot. He's also in Suicide Squad as Colonel Rich Flag. Like I said, I think the '80s. I like the '80s film. I like RoboCop 1, 3, and 2014 the best, with RoboCop 2 being my least favorite. I do not like RoboCop 2. Let's start off with the first one. The first RoboCop. See, I really talk about these films because their stories are complex and hard to follow. Hard to follow. But the first RoboCop, the first RoboCop features Alex, the main protagonist, Alex Murphy, who gets brutally murdered and gets rebuilt as a cyborg, and begins to clean up the crime, and begins to hold on, the crime. And when does this take place? RoboCop um he gets rebuilt as a cyborg. He begins to clean up the crime, and he has a epic battle with a giant RoboCop at the end. I think created by a company called OCP. OCP. Like I said, I really don't understand the story to these films, but I love each of these films, man. I love Peter Weller as a RoboCop. I also love keep forgetting his name, but he's the father in that '70s show. He's portrays an antagonist, a popular antagonist in this film. I think he's the guy who actually murders Murphy in this film. Um, then you got Robocop 2, where Robocop 2 fights duplicates of himself. He also fights a gang. He also fights some bizarre gang, and this is the like I said, it's the one I didn't like. This is the film where he fights. Well, this is the film where he fights a kid. Why is a kid the main antagonist in a RoboCop film? In a RoboCop film. But yeah, I didn't like this film's mean-spirited attitude. But what do you expect? This was the '90s when this was the time people. This was supposed to be like this edgy Wild Wild West type time. So yeah, you won't see anything like that today. You won't see it like a smart mouth kid, a smart mouth an antagonist kid character who gets brutally murdered at the end. You won't see that today. Um, next is and this film received mixed reviews. The first one was the most popular one. The first one was hugely popular. Then of course RoboCop 3, which is my next favorite. My next favorite. I like this RoboCop film. This RoboCop film for its complex story. Its story is actually kind of hard to follow. OCP is now on the verge of bankruptcy because of the events of the previous film, and now they begin to create rehab droids to clean up to clean up the crime in the city, to clean up the crime in the city. But this is actually a diversion to force the people out of the city, forcing a young Japanese woman, to be split from her parents. This film, just like the second one, this film is just like the first and second. This film, unlike the first and second one, is more lighthearted, especially since you had a kid brutally murdered. They have a kid as a protagonist, as a main character in this film. In this film, all the cast members from the previous one return, I think, except for Peter Weller, Robert John Burke portrays RoboCop in this film. A lot of people didn't like him in his role. I thought he was a good replacement for Peter Weller, and they dub over the voice, so it's not like it's not like, see, it's a different actor, but they dub over the voice, so they dub over the voice with that robotic sound. So what's his name? And I also love the cool new blue design of his outfit. That was one improvement I did love about RoboCop 2. I do love the new updated blue design, and like I said, I loved the final battle with the ninja. I also like this film, despite being more lighthearted than the previous one. I like this film for its um gracious lashes for its violence, for its graphic violence, man, for its graphic violence. At the end of the film, I think his name is Daggett, the main antagonist of the film, after his ninja warrior is defeated, RoboCop kills him by burning his legs, and he tries to crawl and escape. Crawl and escape the building, where the building blows up. Talk about sick death. And then of course like I said, I love the fight between RoboCop and the ninja portrayed by Bruce Locke, Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat Conquest. Like I said, awesome film, man. Like I said, another awesome film, man. Underrated too. I think this film is given like more criticism than it deserves, man. Underrated film. I like this much better than 2. I don't like RoboCop 2. I'll be doing a longer review rant on RoboCop 2 on my Dog A798 channel. Next is the reboot, RoboCop 2014. Had my doubts about this film in the trailers, and the leaked shots. The film didn't look all that good. I did like the new suit. It's the film, the new RoboCop film is a reimagining of the RoboCop film. It is vastly similar to Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins film from 2005. This film is much more modern, serious. It lacks, also, I forgot about this, it lacks the satirical violence of the previous one, and this film stars Joel Kinnaman with with Michael Keaton from Tim Burton's Batman being playing an antagonist in this film. I don't remember the plot of this film. I don't remember the plot of this film. I have to watch it over again, but I remember watching it and loving the film. Only problem I have with the film is Joel Kidman. He's an awesome action star, but he's not a good actor. He's not that good of an actor, even though he has improved since Suicide Squad. After seeing him in Suicide Squad, but he wasn't that good here. But I loved him in the role of Robocop, and I love the action in this film. This film is way better than what people give it credit for. I think people were just dick riding the original and can't accept anything new. But this film, for a rebooted film, this film was pretty good. And this film I'm actually satisfied with. Spider-Man and Ghostbusters 2016 I didn't like, but The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 and Ghostbusters 2016, these were also produced by Sony. I didn't like those, but I actually like this one. Now I actually hope Sony pursues the role of a sequel. Pursues the sequel. I'm even gonna do a video not only reviewing this film on my Doug 878 channel, but I'm gonna be defending this and RoboCop 3 because these are two films everyone hates that I seemingly like. I seemingly like. So yeah, and also like I love this film for its complex story and its updated fighting. RoboCop moves like a ninja in here. They even got Jackie Haley to portray an antagonist in this film. I also like Jackie Haley, Rorschach from Watchmen, to portray an antagonist in this film. Also, only thing I didn't like was the pacing. The pacing, but it's worth it when they get to the action. Love the new RoboCop suit, awesome film, and like I said, I hope they pursue a sequel. It says Sony is still pursuing a sequel, and this was surprisingly was a box office success. I thought it flopped, or at least was a one-time thing, because I haven't heard anything about it since, and everyone that here talking about this film hated it. Well, this was my review of this was my short review of the RoboCop series. I'm going to be doing longer, more in-depth reviews of each series. Sorry if this review didn't come out as good as people wanted. Like I said, I don't understand the RoboCop series. Huge fan of it, but don't really understand it. So I got to watch and gain more knowledge of the series. All right, Doug out.